Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Behind the Pulpit podcast. It's been a while since I got a chance to talk with you. I've been out the last couple of Mondays. I was sick, and then I took a little study leave, and so I'm back. It's November 17th. We are coming towards the Thanksgiving season. I'm here with my colleague, Pastor Bob, who's been holding down the podcast fort. What's up, man?
Been hanging out here. Well, you weren't totally absent. We had Reese's Dave over here.
Guys,
joined us for the episode last week.
How did you let him do this to me? This is not right. What's going on here, man?
It was Tim's idea.
I'm impressed that you guys didn't eat these. This is a big temptation sitting right here. I guess you guys don't care about them as much as I do.
We should open it up and just kind of cut it with a knife and a fork.
We're not. You remember that Seinfeld episode with the guy with the Snickers bar?
Yes.
We've done taste testings on the show before.
Yeah, I think we have. I feel like there was like some kind of bread or something we did one time.
It was a cranberry sauce.
Yeah, we got a great show for you today. We are deep into the servant song section of Isaiah. We're going to dissect Bob's expository message yesterday from Isaiah 49, touching on 42 a little bit, which I appreciated that because we didn't get a chance to do the first servant song, so thank you. So if you want to know about that, stay tuned. We got some theology sprinting going. We got some of your questions to dive into. What in the world does the Nicene Creed mean when it says, I believe in one baptism for the forgiveness of sins? We got to talk a little bit more about that. Noah's been dying to put me on the spot with some other question. We are here for you, Behind the Pulpit. Let's do this. Pastor Bob, let's start with some happening news stories, shall we? What's going on in the news?
All right, I got one or two news stories. First one I want to bring up is this headline: New Jersey man believed to be first known death from red meat allergy linked to tick bites. Perhaps you have heard about this. So apparently there was a guy who died after this tick bit him, and he was consuming a hamburger and just fell over dead because it makes you allergic to certain things that are in red meat. I'm looking for the it's called the alpha-gal syndrome, AGS. Watch out for the alpha-gal. Is a serious, potentially life-threatening allergic reaction that arises after people eat red meat or consume products with alpha-gal, a type of sugar found in most mammals, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So, Pastor Dave, you got to be watching it when you're out raking your leaves, cutting your lawn, hiking in the mountains, and then you go have a hamburger afterwards. You got to do a tick check.
You know what my kids say?
What do your kids say?
New fear unlocked. I didn't know that this was possible. And sometimes I do find like ticks crawling on me. This is a little bit frightening. It's not the kind of big tick though, right? It's probably one of those little deer tick things or something like that. The tick injects something into your body.
Right there.
Oh, okay.
There he is.
Wow.
Look at that guy kind of crawling on top of you.
Yeah.
Just picture that being your arm right there. Look, there he is. He's right.
So this guy pokes his thing in you, and then he injects something into you, and then that thing in you makes you not be able to eat the red meat in a safe way anymore.
He infects you. That's what I'm gathering from this.
You know what? I was doing some research on mosquitoes. I think it's mosquitoes. So they have a special thing that God has given them where they anesthetize the part of your skin that they're about to puncture before they puncture it, so that you don't feel it when they actually puncture it, which I thought, wow. Like, how could something like that have just by chance evolved with no designer? It's just not that I really think that mosquitoes are the number one reason to believe in the creation, but I do think it's kind of amazing how the animal kingdom works. And I'm not sure, did ticks exist before the fall? Is that a post-fall type of thing?
That's a great question.
Ticks,
is there any redemptive properties to ticks?
I don't know. Somehow they feed on your blood, right? Isn't that what they like? So, all right. So watch out for that. And if you like beef or pork or venison or something like that, this could really have an impact. But that's kind of devastating to think.
Well,
this
speaking
is
of beef or pork, this made me think about a second news story that I caught my eye this week. You may have heard that the Chinese government has been buying up farmland in the U.S. and there was a big hullabaloo this last week because apparently I think it was a trailer park that they bought through the shell company borders our base in Missouri where all the stealth bombers are, the B-2 stealth bombers. And we just found out about this. So China has been spying on the B-2 bomber base in Missouri, which I thought was a little unsettling. I'm not quite sure why we're letting them buy up farmland.
You know, man, I can't even put in a gravel patio without the town council coming and knocking on my door wanting to have some kind of fee. I got neighbors like putting picket signs out in my yard if I want to put in like a mailbox. And you're telling me
that Xi Jinping is buying up the farmland next to you.
And nobody notices? And this is fine? There's not like a mayor or some sort of like department that says, hey, let's flag this before we approve this purchase? This just kind of happens, huh?
Well, apparently they do it behind a bunch of shell companies. So there's like layers and layers deep that you have to really need the FBI and intelligence services to find out. But still, we're missing the ball here.
That's a little too close to our military technology.
Yeah, I think I also heard that there was some technology that got into military bases that had Chinese ties, which sent off alarm bells this last week, as it should.
So what do you think is the ultimate motivation here? Do you feel like they're trying to get a handle on our technology, trying to steal our technology, trying to be able to appropriately fight against our technology?
I think in the
Sabotage
end they play the
technology?
long game, and at the end of the day, they're going to try to do something with our infrastructure. So imagine if our tech is better than theirs, but they could somehow take it out, that gives you an advantage in some kind of conflict. Mm-hmm. So,
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. And then those drones above your house are going to be the least of your concerns.
I've gotten used to them now. The drones are just kind of up there. Remember last year around this time, everybody's like, the drones, they're always up there. What are they?
It was about this time last year.
And now they're just like part of life. We just expect to have multiple
You
drones
guys are still
flying.
seeing drones?
Yeah, all the time, every night. It's not even like a thing anymore. Now it's just part of the sky. We have drones.
Maybe
We
that's
got
why I
used to
don't notice
them. We stopped caring. We never figured out what they were. Remember? Trump said as soon as I get elected, we're going to get some answers on these drones. And he's been delaying. It's already November. It's like been a year. So no answers, but lots of drones.
I heard there was some guy who made a claim that his company was behind it a few months ago.
Oh.
At some tech conference.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
Well, I didn't hear about
keep
that.
discussing.
Maybe there is an answer. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it was confirmed. He was boasting about it.
Another news story is for you baseball fans out there. Noah, Tim, it's not just basketball that's being corrupt by the sin of gambling and covetousness. Now baseball as well. Did you guys hear about this?
I did not hear about this.
No?
I don't think so. Who was it?
Really? So there was a pitcher, I think, that was you could tell based on the window of error in his. I'm going to look it up. You guys didn't hear about the baseball gambling scandal? I'll look it up. I can't remember the team.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
Recently?
yeah.
Or,
This
or
was
like,
like
back
yesterday.
like the Black Sox back in the 1910s.
No. Shoeless Joe Jackson.
That one
We
I
just
heard about.
found out. Yeah. No, I'll look it up. So there was a scandal. I heard about it yesterday.
You know
So-
what? You know what? Professional sport has no scandals like this.
Which one?
Professional ice hockey. Mm-hmm. So
Dude, we were
check it
out with City Relief on Saturday, and Tim was wearing his Devils hat, and all the guys you saw were starting to talk about the Devils and the Rangers.
We were.
It was like an evangelism tool.
we were in
He's
Newark.
sharing about Jesus wearing a Devils hat.
And I was like, I'm absolutely wearing some sort of Devils merch to Newark when we're out in outreach, and there was a couple of guys there, and they're like, the Devils, and we were talking for a while. It was
the
great.
Devils.
And then I were talking to a few of them about how I don't like the Rangers, and then one guy's just sitting on the stoop. He's like, well, I'm a Rangers fan. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, you're a good one.
There you go. By the way, what were the news stories that Dave missed the last couple? I feel like we should have a "What Dave Missed" segment. So we didn't get to talk about the governor election. I think you weren't here for that. We didn't get to talk about something else that happened that was big. But anyway,
So much happened.
So what about the baseball?
All right. Members of Congress sent a letter to Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred on Friday expressing concern over a quote-unquote new integrity crisis facing American sports and asking for answers about the alleged betting scheme that led to the recent indictments of two Cleveland Guardians pitchers. Members of the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, which oversees professional sports, called the allegations against the Guardian pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, quote, markedly more serious, unquote, than recent betting incidents in other areas. So there's federal prosecutors on this case, and Ted Cruz, who led the committee, is questioning why Chase's allegations, which began all the way back in May of 2023, were not discovered for 2 years. And so this is a big story that broke this weekend, guys.
I'm just picturing in my head Senator Ted Cruz questioning baseball players.
Yeah.
And
the Guardian's pitcher is pleading not guilty.
Did you hit that ball?
Okay, they're calling it pitch rigging. Pitch rigging. So they're looking at his
the signs,
the strike zone, and they're saying it's just not possible for you to accidentally miss the strike zone by this window. You had to be doing this on purpose because you're a professional. And so this guy who's making like $30 million a year or something like that is throwing games to win money. So it's a big scandal. It's like a problem. All right, that's my news story. I heard about it yesterday.
Wow, the new Black Sox scandal.
Yeah, it's like a thing. This is like Pete Rose 2.0 or something like that. I don't know.
All right.
Anything else you want to talk about in the news?
I think I'm good. I think we can move on.
Hey, NBC Church family. This one is for our seniors. It is once again that time of the month that we are hosting the Senior Luncheon that will be held this Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. We are so excited to welcome our very own Roy Garms, who's going to be our guest speaker. You're not going to miss what he has to talk about, so come on out. And as usual, it would not be the NBC Senior Luncheon without some amazing food. So bring your favorite casserole, salad, or potluck dish to share. Let's fill the table and the room with some incredible food and fellowship. For more details, check out the church website or call the church office. And every senior is welcome. So even if you don't receive the monthly postcard, you are more than welcome to attend the senior luncheon and invite a friend.
We really need to get back to this battle. So there's a war, and then we took like a break from the war because I had stuff to do. So we're fighting, right? You and I? We're like going after each other. So Tim,
okay.
is there a score?
If you say so.
Where does the current? There it is.
There's the score.
Pastor Dave 5.
Yeah, except
Pastor Bob
I said because
2.
Dave wasn't here, he forfeited the last 2 weeks, and I should get 2 more points.
That's true.
I recommended 3 books last week in his absence.
You know what?
The
forfeit is a loss. That's what happens. Like, you remember when you're in Little League, if all 9 kids didn't show up, you lost. Like, sorry, you get an L.
That's
so
right.
I feel like Bob has a legitimate case against me there.
The committee actually met, and we decided to give grace to Pastor Dave. But
very good.
We're going to appeal it to the upper committee.
We're thinking about something like the college professor model, where if you miss a certain amount, then it'll be result in forfeits. But for now,
I'll tell you what,
this
whole war is rigged against me. It's rigged.
Maybe
rigged battle.
Maybe it's being run by Chinese shell corporations. You never know.
They're the ones that are voting on everything.
All right, you want to go first?
Sure, I can recommend a book. So, by the way, do you remember this book? So this is the
thin.
It is David Powlison,
the one and only,
the great David Powlison. It's like a doodle cover, which is interesting. Standing firm in spiritual, safe and sound, standing firm in spiritual battles. So this is a book about helping people through their dark days. How you face spiritual warfare, particularly in the realm of counseling. Not necessarily professional counselors, but if you're counseling somebody from the Bible, they may indeed be walking through a dark season because there's spiritual warfare involved. And he does a good job the first couple chapters of outlining what spiritual warfare is, how we fight it. And then he offers some practical tools in part 2, counseling in the reality of spiritual warfare. So the battle of the shadow within, conflict with the occult, spiritual warfare focusing on the person, the last battle. Those are some of the chapter titles. So I was very much helped by this. We developed a spiritual warfare paper a little while ago for our elders, and that was a helpful book for me. So there you go, David Powlison. Met him a couple times, had dinner with him.
I thought this thing was out of print. New Growth Press put this out.
They did. I think maybe they retitled it.
Yeah, it was something else.
But I bought it on their website. So there you go.
Oh.
Sounds like a relic.
Wow. You know,
There
I
it
need
is.
to have that.
All right.
Here's a picture of me with David Pallison.
Maybe if you're
Before
lucky,
he
this will be
passed
a
away,
Christmas present for you.
I got a chance to meet him. So there he is, right there,
Boom.
the one and only. So that's my chance at trying to help you win this book war, Bob. I'm trying to get you back in the game. My book is from Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones, the great Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones, wrote this book,
doctor.
The Basis of Christian Unity. He was a pastor in the 60s. He was also he was a doctor, and so he left the medical profession.
Like a real medical doctor.
Yeah, he was a doc, and then he went to go back and get his theological training and became one of the greatest preachers of the last century. He was at Westminster Chapel in England, and he was really facing down a crisis in the 60s called the ecumenical movement. And so there was this push for Christians to be unified. And there was this movement that, hey, doesn't really matter the differences. Christians are way too divided. Christians are way too polarized. You guys need to get together. You don't have a good witness to the world. You're essentially losing your evangelistic opportunity because of your divisions. And Jones was like, hold up a hot second. And he wrote this book called The Basis of Christian Unity. And he basically exposits the texts that are like the proof texts, which you should never do, but the proof texts that people use to say we should all be unified, like John 17, like I pray that they be one just as you and I are one. And then Ephesians 4, when Paul talks about unity and he says, strive to keep the unity through the bond of peace. And so Jones is like, let's take a look at the Bible. What does it say? And he makes the case in this book. It's very short. It's only 75 pages. He makes the case that those two texts do not go from. He says you're doing it backwards. He says you don't go from the virtue, the behavior of unity, and then that leads you to somehow be able to have unified doctrine. The flow, the stream runs the other way. You have to start with the unity of doctrine, the unity of the faith, and then that unity of faith actually creates a unity by God already that you don't need to create at all. You just have to maintain the unity that He's already been, that's already been established for you by God. And if you want to know how that works biblically, he does it here with two different sections. One's on John 17, the high priestly prayer of Jesus, and then the other one's on Ephesians 4. And he kind of walks through the whole book of Ephesians, which is really neat, and what he does there, and talks about what is Christian unity, what's the basis of it, what's the nature of it, how does it work, and what's the problem with the ecumenical movement, and why we wouldn't want to just hold hands and sing Kumbaya with every single person who claims the name of Christ. Because when we do that, sometimes we actually end up damaging the witness of Jesus with people who are denying certain fundamentals of the faith that are not. It's not really okay for you to deny those things. So Jones is an amazing person, and this is my recommendation. It's not expensive, and it's Banner of Truth, which they always do a great job, and it's short, man. You could read this in a day. You could read this in like 2 hours. 77 pages. Basis of Christian Unity, Martin Lloyd-Jones.
So we got
We have
at
a
this.
battle of the digestibles here.
We got. It's like comfort food right here for you. Look, there you go. Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
Which skinny will you pick?
Hey guys, Thanksgiving is almost here, and when I think Thanksgiving, I think about pies. And some of you may have ordered a pie from Little Footprints Learning Center as part of their fundraiser. If that's you, if you ordered a delicious pie, come pick it up on November 20th. Please come and pick up your pie so you can take it home and get it ready for Thanksgiving dinner.
All right, guys. We recommend you decide. We recommend you decide. Let us know.
I know
what
you
think.
people have been missing the voting, so go out, get to the polls, people.
Get to the polls. Yeah. We should have maybe like I voted stickers that we can give people or something like that.
We should.
The people who do vote are very proud of their voting,
All right.
I will say.
Very good. All right, so that is the book war segment.
People come up and tell me I ordered the book you recommended.
Ordered.
Another great
That's
one.
another level.
That's right.
And then do you say, well, did you vote for it?
Well,
Yeah.
clearly they voted for it. Yeah.
All right, guys. We've got ticks. We've got baseball scandals. We've got Chinese people spying on farms, and we've got books. And now let's talk about questions, right? Are we doing questions?
We did not receive any audience
No,
questions.
but we have
There's like follow-up questions
the
or
follow-up
something.
questions from Noah. This was like the absent Dave questions.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Old
Yes.
questions.
This will be good.
Before we get to the sermon. That's what I tell you.
And
This
we'll
is
have
the
a fresh
Dave. You can
theology
call
sprint.
it the Dave wrap-up.
Old questions.
The Dave catch-up.
Noah?
So the first one is a Theology Sprint question, and this was the hard difficulty level of Theology Sprint question. Pastor Bob was able
That's
to
right.
answer it
Noah
last
gave
week,
me 3. I got
Three.
3 in one episode.
but we didn't want you to be able to avoid this one, Pastor Dave, so we wanted to fire it off to you as well. So the question you missed was...
You thought you were out. You didn't miss it.
The question was the earth perfect and sinless before the fall of man? If so, is it possible for there to be another fall in the new heavens and the new earth?
Oh. Well, I think Genesis chapter 1 is worthy of study here, but there is several usages of the Hebrew word tov, which is translated as good most of the time. It is good. He saw that it was good, and then he creates mankind as very good. There is no indication that there's anything that's not good in the creation text. And so most conservative Christians would argue, no, there's not anything imperfect before the fall. When you say
Well, isn't
imperfect,
that true,
do you
though?
mean sinful or
That
do you
Adam
mean...
was alone was not good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one part was not good. Did you say sinful or did you say evil or what did you say, imperfect? Is there anything imperfect before the fall? What did you say?
I guess the way I phrased it was the world perfect and sinless.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the overarching
Okay.
contrast of pre-fall, post-fall. Like, is it possible for there to be another fall in the new heavens and new earth?
Right.
Because if, a lot of times people view, the new heavens and new earth as getting back to the way that creation was supposed to be. So by that logic, is it possible for the fall to happen again?
Okay. I have a chart. Can we look at it? So, Tim, I sent you something.
Preparing this chart for 3 weeks, and
Yeah.
now he gets to unveil it.
So St. Augustine came up with these categories. They're Latin, and they're like the fourfold nature of man or the fourfold estate of man categories. And so each column represents like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So on the left, the posse pecare column there is you are in a state of being as pre-fall man where you are both able to sin.
Hold on.
Yep.
What is possipicare?
Well, the English translation
just
is in
threw
the
it-
top row.
Oh, this is the definition.
Yeah,
on
so the
top.
English
Okay.
is in the top. So posse pecare is able to sin, and then posse non pecare is able not to sin. So like pecare is sin. And
Okay.
Adam and Eve literally had the opportunity to have actual autonomous volitional capacity. They could actually choose to either eat the fruit or not eat the fruit. They had the ability to do something that we actually don't have anymore. Phase 2. So phase 2 after the fall is this phase where human beings are able to sin and not able to not sin. So we are now fallen. Our nature is bent. We are, as theologians would call it, totally depraved. We have now inherited not just the guilt of sin, but we've inherited something called a sin nature. And this part of ourselves is actually enslaved to sin. We don't see it that way. A lot of times people who are not Christians don't feel like they're enslaved. They feel like, hey, I can do whatever I want. That's like true freedom. But what you're not able to do, bro, is you're not able to actually stop sinning against your own conscience. And that means you're not free because you can't do that. So that's stage 2. Stage 3 is when you actually accept Christ. The Spirit comes in and regenerates you. You are a Christian now, and you are able to sin and able to not sin. You are restored back in some capacity where your will is actually able to choose the good that God has allowed you to see now. You can see the beauty of Christ. You can see the beauty of obedience. You understand holiness is something that you want to pursue. You have a sin nature, though, still, which is something Adam and Eve didn't have to deal with. So you're in a little bit of a different kind of situation than pre-fall man, but you are once again set free. He who the Son sets free is free indeed. One day, though, Noah, and this is getting me to your question, we will be glorified. And this is a state of mind where we will be able to not sin and not able to sin. And what Augustine meant by that is that we will reach a state that is so beautiful and so glorious and so weighty. C.S. Lewis would call it the weight of glory. We will one day get to a state of mind where we will never even look back and think about sinning anymore. It will never even cross our mind. It will not be something that we will ever want to do. We will look back on these times that we're living in now and going, I can't believe we ever chose to sin against God. I don't know how we ever would make such a foolish, evil choice. And that state of mind will be glorious, where we're not able to sin anymore. We will have truly free natures where God will perfect us, and we will become like him. We will be in a perfect state of mind, perfect state of soul, perfect state of spirit, where we will not be able to fall again. And so this is our hope. This is the great, wonderful, beauty of the future heavenly story. This is the gospel. This is where we're looking forward to getting to. So Augustine said it well, and I feel like I can't do better than that chart right there.
It's true.
Got big words and everything.
It's true. I think you just like saying pacificare.
It is kind of like rolls off the tongue there.
It's a fun word.
Yeah. So, Noah, there's my answer, man.
I think that should be the title of the episode, pacificare.
I believe the title of the episode is New Fear Unlocked.
Yeah. Yeah, man, these ticks.
Make sure you put a big picture of a tick on Dave's head.
So, all right. I did want to just chat about something else that you guys talked about with the Nicene Creed thing.
Yes.
I don't know. Is that Tim's question or was that Noah's?
That was Tim's question.
Tim had the question of the Nicene
Tim, you
Creed.
were at church the day before.
It was an audience question.
And you recited the Nicene Creed from 325 AD, right?
I was on the retreat.
Oh,
However, Band of Brothers, a couple days before that, we recited the Nicene Creed.
Right. And part of the Nicene Creed says what?
That we believe in one baptism for the forgiveness of sins.
Excellent memory. And you're wondering how that works. And you guys were talking about it a little bit last week, Bob. And I thought you guys handled it well, but I thought it was worth maybe just touching on a little bit more. And I think the emphasis there in the Nicene Creed is on the word one. And I think we need to confess that there is no other way to receive the forgiveness of sins except through the one baptism. So I texted myself, actually, when I was watching you guys' podcast on 2 times speed, by the way, saying this to not forget
I
to
was
say.
talking like this and going over here and doing that.
Yes.
The already rapid fire episode on 2 times speed.
Actually, I was watching Bob preach this morning when I was watching your sermon on 2 times this morning. And then I went farther into the closing song, 2 times the closing song with, John was doing that song. I called, you answered, you came to my rescue, and I whatever. And it was like really fast. And I was like, dude, that song sounds good this speed. It's not bad. So I screen recorded my screen for John, and I texted him the screen record at the 2.2 times speed of that song. I'm like, John, you should think about doing the song this way, fast. And like you could actually it would work, there's fast songs and slow songs. This song actually worked like fast. Here, I'll play it for you guys. Here you go.
That's actually a new thing now. Is a lot of bands.
It can be a little sleepy.
A lot of bands are re-releasing songs called fast. So it's called fast and then title.
Okay.
Let me hear it.
Okay. There you go. Can you guys hear that? No. Oh wait. Well, it was a good song. And I was like, right, man, we should do this. And he said, I'm not like a mariachi band, Dave. This doesn't work like that.
John, he doesn't like those ideas, man.
Feeling that?
No.
I could clap my hands right now, man. This thing would work. I'm telling you.
I feel like that sounds like it's going to be... You are...
It's like, all right, so the service is running long. We're going to put this song in cut time.
It's going to be
called, you answered.
the speed that he was using the rhythm guitar hand
sounds
was
like
rough.
it's a lead up to a bass drop in an EDM song is what it sounded like.
Well, I liked it. I thought John.
I'm saying in the worship setting.
Anyway, back to Nicaea. So I texted myself this: God grants forgiveness through Christ alone, meaning the one baptism thing. Baptism is the God-ordained sign and seal of that forgiveness. And the church acknowledges one baptism as the public mark of entry into that forgiven, redeemed community. So it's not that the baptism waters actually have salvific significance and that baptism itself is for the forgiveness of sins, but baptism is the God-ordained sign that becomes the mark of the fact that you're now in this forgiven community. So, and I said this, the one emphasizes unity. There is only one true baptism into Christ, just as there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism. It rejects the idea also of repeated baptisms for renewed forgiveness, as if you need to be forgiven again and again and again. We believe in one baptism for the forgiveness of sins. We don't need to keep coming back to the altar again and again. Like the Old Testament had this repetition to the sacrifices, and the book of Hebrews says that was the weakness of it. But Christ has died once for all. And the phrase is actually taken directly from the book of Acts when Peter stands up on the day of Pentecost and he says, they're like, what should we do? And he says, repent
and believe
and repent and be baptized for the forgiveness of your sins. So it's a biblical phrase. It's also said at Paul's conversion too, same exact phraseology. So I thought we could talk about that.
This is what happens when you get a week to think about it, just so you guys know.
Yeah. Much more
Would
robust answer.
Would you have said that
I mean, for the weeks,
if you had just been asked on top of your
No.
head?
listen, for the weeks that we don't have any audience questions, I'm totally fine with going back and revisiting some of the theology sprints. But
Yeah.
there is no consideration here to take away the
Theology Sprint, we'll call it the rewind, right?
We can call it-
Theology Sprint Rewind.
remix.
Noah's
the
questions
remix.
are
Do
too
you guys
good.
have
Yeah.
these like conversations in your head after you have a conversation? Like an hour later, you're like, "Oh, I should have said that."
Oh, that's George.
Yeah,
Oh, I should
I would
said that.
I would invite you guys to do that if we don't have
That's
any
what I
audience
should have
questions.
said.
One of the other things that we talked about in relation to that subject was, is there a distinction between the water baptism and then baptism of the Holy Spirit? That was one of the other things that we briefly mentioned.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I do think there's a distinction there, but I don't think the creed is talking about spirit baptism. I think it's talking about water baptism. So yeah,
Understood.
which is why, by the way, since we're going to keep talking about this, which is why the mainline Protestant idea of infant baptism is a little bit different than other denominations, such as the Baptist tradition. So because we hold to credo baptism or believer's baptism, we believe that this is a visual sign of what's already occurred, that the forgiveness is actually something that is embraced. The mainline denominational belief is that baptism is the sign and the seal of the covenant, and that later on the person gets confirmed into that covenant when they are of age where they can understand and embrace the faith, but the baptism is something that comes in their life earlier when they're an infant. As opposed to a Catholic or as opposed to an Orthodox person. The Catholic person and the Orthodox person and the Baptist person are on the same page over here, and the mainline Protestant Presbyterian person is over here.
In
right?
the news.
So like the Catholic belief is also that the baptism is for the forgiveness of sins because they believe in baptismal regeneration. And the Orthodox belief is also that they would be baptized for the forgiveness of sins. And so is the Baptist position. But it's the mainline Protestant position, like the Methodist position or the Presbyterian position, that holds to infant baptism, that doesn't connect it together with a salvific act. That's the anomaly position. That's the part that we struggle with regards to infant baptism in the mainline denominations. So I say that just because when you confess the Nicene Creed, are you confessing baptism like the rest of us, or are you confessing something different with regards to baptism? And what do you do with the Nicene Creed if you're like PCA or OPC or RCA
It's a great
or
question.
Methodist or Tim?
So just to get some clarification on what you just said, a Baptist and a Catholic would be
Baptist and Catholic walk into a church.
would be in the same boat because they both believe that baptism is connected to salvation,
to a Christian, yeah.
Whereas like the Catholic would argue that you need to be baptized in order, as it's a part of your salvation. But baptism, Baptists would see baptism as like the outward sign of that salvific decision. I don't know if my words were good there.
Yeah, so they're different. Obviously, we have a different belief about baptism than Catholic. But what we do have in common is that we both tie it directly together with the person being saved. They are interlinked. And it's the Presbyterians or the Methodists or the Reformed or the other denominations, the Protestant denominations that practice infant baptism that separate out baptism from salvation. That they're not connected in the same way. Mm-hmm. So that's different. Does that make sense, Tim?
I am now in full understanding.
All right. Yeah. There we go. So I'm glad we did the Nicene Creed. That was different.
Let's do it again. Let's do the Athanasian.
Let's do something different.
Let's do the Athanasian Creed.
Yeah. Let's do the Chalcedonian Creed.
Might take all service though.
We can name more creeds.
How about the Apostles' Creed? Like we should have started with the OG, the Apostles' Creed, man.
This is true.
So we got to do a lot of stuff.
We could do a little catechism, like call and response too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heidelberg
Dig into a creed.
By the way,
Baptists
Caleb McLaughlin doing a great job on the scripture reading this last week.
Yes. Shout out
Got
Caleb.
up there with authority.
He did good. I like the way you guys did that. You ended worship and then he did the reading and then you came up. I thought it was.
Did you watch the first or the second service?
First.
Where he said, no, "Hold on, don't sit down yet."
Yeah.
John goes, "You may be
sit
seated."
down. He's like, "Oh,
Caleb's actually
not yet."
Caleb took charge. He's like, "No, stay standing in honor of the word."
Alpha.
I like it. I think he did.
Caleb
Did they
is
sit
an
on
alpha.
accident or something, or what was happening in the job?
John told them to sit.
Right. So did they?
There was like a
Yes,
oh,
it was.
okay.
It was
like
like a false start.
Speaking of the Catholic
Yeah,
Church,
it was
Caleb.
it was one of those.
Caleb has spoken.
it got Catholic in there for a second. There was a sitting down and standing back up.
Up down.
Was there any commentary up in the balcony? They're like, "Oh, man,
No.
Oh man, we got to keep standing. We got to keep confessing.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching Behind the Pulpit. We are about to dive right into the sermon recap section of the show. Before we get into that, we just want to tell you about an awesome event that we have coming up here, and it is the City Relief Packing Party. If you remember last year, we had this awesome event where the church came together around Christmas time to pack hygiene kits for City Relief. City Relief is one of our strategic local partners, and one of the things that they do is they give out hygiene kits to the homeless community of New York, Newark, and Patterson. And these kits contain things like toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, soap, other things like that are integral to the daily hygiene of those struggling with homelessness. We want to blow away City Relief with the amount of hygiene kits that we get to provide for them. So as a start, Millington Baptist Church is providing 1,000 kits to be packed. So the base number of hygiene kits packed that day will be 1,000, but we want to exceed that. How we can do that is you can directly donate to providing more hygiene kits to City Relief that we will pack that day. So whether you're able to come to the event or you would just like to contribute, go onto our website. You can check the link in the show notes and you can donate a contribution to the event, either a general donation or you can sponsor kits. All donations that we receive by December 1st are going to go directly to purchasing more materials to make even more hygiene kits. Our goal is to get to at least 1,500 total. So that's the 1,000 that NBC is providing, plus another 500 or more provided by you guys. We're holding this event on Saturday, December 20th from 9 to 11 in the morning. We're going to provide breakfast and some really good coffee from local roastery Barrister Coffee House. Breakfast will start at 8:30, so you can come in, get some breakfast, hang out with one another. This is going to be an awesome Christmas event for the church to come together. We're going to encourage you guys to wear your favorite Christmas sweater. We're going to play some Christmas songs. We might have some candy canes and some hot chocolate for you guys. It's going to be a really great time to come together as a church and make a difference in the lives of so many who need these hygiene kits. So if you're interested in coming to the event, contributing to the event, or both, scroll down, click the link in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there.
So that's our questions, and that kind of leads us into the word. So we're here in Isaiah, man. Isaiah 49, a little 42 sprinkled in there.
Look at this. You even got the picture with the headphones
Whoa.
on. Where are my wife's headphones?
Wait, can we talk about this picture for a second?
Wow.
Look at that. What kind of headphones you got there, man?
DJ Pastor Bob.
What's the brand?
The Cowan, I believe is the name. Cowin.
And do they completely fit over the ear, or
yes?
Like, because these I feel like are okay, but my ears are kind of big.
These are like real the noise canceling ones. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
that's a good picture. Good job, Tim.
I was between this one and there was another one where you were brandishing the headphones at the congregation. So it was between this and the
Brandishing
other
like a
one.
weapon,
I was
like
like,
a pistol.
he was holding it out.
Holding it up. It was like this.
Look at these headphones.
My wife actually helped me out. We settled on this one. We thought this was the better one.
I did not preach the whole sermon with them on my ears, though.
Does canceling have one L or two?
I believe it's a one.
I'm looking
L.
at that word and I can't figure out this. Is that right? Okay.
I believe it's one.
I hope so.
Double check.
So when you say like noise canceling, and what that does is it actually gets rid of it interferes with it, or it takes away the distracting sound. Is something always on in the headphones, or do you have to turn
so I
something?
just because of time's sake, I had a longer explanation that I cut down. But
do tell, because people were wondering. I was watching going, what is he talking about?
so basically, my research told me that what it does is there's actually little microphones inside of the earphones that take the noise that's around you, and they transform it and invert it and turn it into a counter sound that actually makes it feel like it's canceling out the noise around you. That's how it works.
So are these things receiving power all the time? These little microphones? So this thing is like
I
plugged
think
in?
If you like on those things, you have to actually turn on the
turn it
active
on.
noise canceling headphones.
Do you remember the anechoic chamber thing we went to in the Bell Labs?
I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Whoa. Look it up.
You put
It's
them
a
on,
thing.
you can't hear anything around you. Boom. It
Okay.
actively cancels the noise,
Okay.
just like God's grace.
Speaking of canceling, quick research. 1 L is American English. 2 L's is British English.
Whoa.
We're in America. 1 L.
Take that.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
You ever look at a word and you're like, that word looks so weird?
By the way, I was also having a conversation with John about the servant song here, and he said he was trying really hard. I had sent him a couple things to figure out what the closing song should be, and then about halfway through the sermon, he realized, oh my goodness, it's a song. He didn't know it was a song. So I guess I didn't do a good job of explaining that to him ahead of time.
There's 4 of them, right?
There's 4.
So let's
4 or
talk
5.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you give us a 60-second flyover of
60-second flyover.
servant
So
song?
this is the second servant song in Isaiah. And the theme that I pulled out was, of course, this noise-canceling headphone thing, because we talked a little bit about how God's... which song are you listening to? The world song or God's song that comes from the servant? We talked about a spiritual song battle that we're all in. We can get into that later if you want. And... it is the servant who steps in and sings the melody, and then he calls the saints around him to sing in harmony. So the first half of the message was focusing on the servant himself, which we said was Christ. We can talk about the different views of that. Also, we talked about the four or five different servant songs that are in the book. And how in the first part he embraced his calling and he expanded the melody. And then the second half, we talked about how that ultimately goes out to the saints, because God is calling us to rejoice and share the gospel with those that are in the world, that one day they can traverse the highway that he's clearing away the debris so that you can come into the presence of God. And then it ends with this just wonderful singing, this explosion of song as the prisoners have come out and as the people have come to their God. So
Thank you. So let's get right into the theology nerdy stuff, man. What is the argument against other interpretations of this particular song that the servant is identified with a different character, whether that be Israel or Isaiah or Cyrus, who's specifically called my servant in Isaiah 45? So why convince us that we should identify this servant as Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth from the first century?
Sure. Well, let's look at refresh our memory about a couple of views. So I think there's a fourth one, because some people split off the Israel piece, but I mentioned 3. So the first one is that the servant is the nation of Israel. Some scholars, particularly Jewish scholars, see the servant as Israel as a whole, as God's covenant people.
So if I would walk across the street to the Chabad and talk to Mendy or Mendel, and I would say, let's look up Isaiah 49. Who's this? They say Israel?
Good chance they say it's the collective people of Israel. Yeah, good chance. Mendy,
if you're watching, we'd love to hear from you.
I'm sure Mendy watches us each and every week. So some support for this: Isaiah 41, 8-9, and 44, 1-2. the servant is explicitly identified as Israel, right? He says, "But you, Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I've chosen." The servant's mission to be a light to the nations echoes Israel's covenant back in Genesis 12:3, right? Where God has chosen Abraham and his family to bless the nations. Thirdly, the servant's struggles, his laboring in vain, can describe Israel's historic experience of exile and apparent failure. So there's some images that are there that seem to represent Israel as a whole. But some challenges to that. In Isaiah 49:5 and 6, the servant's mission, which we read, is to bring Israel back to God, which suggests that the servant is distinct from Israel, that he can't restore the nation and be identical with it.
Here's where it gets confusing.
Right.
So it's like, wait, you're calling me Israel on the servant, but then now you're telling me I need to help Israel.
Right. To gather Israel.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Secondly, the servant seems sinless and fully obedient, which, if you've read the Old Testament, you know Israel as a nation is not. There's actual frequent disobedience.
So the servant does not sin. The servant is like Noah's question earlier. The servant is flawless.
Right, and of course in Isaiah 50 and then 52 and 53, there's an emphasis on his obedience to the will of the Father.
Well, I mean, chapter 53 is very explicit, and it says, though he had done no violence, nor was deceit found in his mouth, you cannot say that would be characteristic of Israel. So, all right, go on.
So
continue.
You needed a better Israelite. Okay, number 3, the prophet Isaiah. Number 2, the prophet Isaiah. Is Isaiah himself the servant? Some people propose that the servant is Isaiah. He's speaking autobiographically about his prophetic calling. So, some support for that. Isaiah was called from the womb, like the other prophets. We see that in Isaiah 49:1, similar to Jeremiah. Jeremiah was called. That's in Jeremiah 1. Secondly, the servant's message of restoration parallels Isaiah's ministry to the exiles. And then thirdly, my mouth is like a sharp sword, could easily describe a prophetic word. So, is it Isaiah? Well, some challenges to it is that the servant's worldwide salvific role far exceeds Isaiah's historical ministry. So we talk about being a light to the nations, of going out. Isaiah didn't get to do that. Later servant songs...
He had a big impact, but not global.
Right. Later, the servant songs, especially 52 and 53, which we just mentioned, clearly go beyond the experience of any prophet. So if you read Isaiah 52 and 53, does that sound like something Isaiah did or something of someone in the future that we know? Some people who favor this view, mostly critical scholars, especially those who read Isaiah as a purely historical framework. And then the third one I mentioned was Cyrus, which is interesting, or some other historical figure, but most people think Cyrus. A few people have suggested that the servant refers to Cyrus, the Persian ruler, whom Isaiah also calls my shepherd in chapter 44 and my anointed in chapter 45.
And my servant in chapter 45. I've raised up Cyrus, my servant.
Right. So some extra support for that, right? Cyrus was used by God to bring Israel back from exile, which is a theme in Isaiah 49:5 and 6. So he was the one that helped them return. His worldwide impact fits the light to the nations language in a limited sense. But some challenges. Cyrus is never named as the servant in Isaiah's servant songs, even if it's in different places. And then secondly, the moral and redemptive attributes of the servant, especially in 52 and 53, don't fit Cyrus himself. So those are the pluses and minuses for those. And then, of course, for Messiah Jesus, right, which is the position that I took, and most Christian tradition takes, is that in the Christian interpretation, the servant is understood to be the Messiah, fulfilled perfectly in Jesus. So why would we say that? Well, number one, the servant is called and equipped before birth, paralleled in Jesus' incarnation and divine ministry. Secondly, the servant brings salvation to the nations, fulfilled in Christ's global gospel mission. Third, the servant is despised yet honored by kings, fulfilled in Christ's rejection and exaltation. Philippians 2, every knee will one day bow, every tongue will confess. And then the New Testament explicitly applies servant passages to Jesus, Isaiah 49:6 is quoted in Acts 13:47. Isaiah 53 is applied in 1 Peter 2:24 and 25. Now, some people will challenge that and say that the servant's Israel identification and see a dual meaning. I'm sorry. Some scholars note that the servant's Israel identification, I think they have a problem with the dual meaning, but you could see Jesus as the true Israel. And then secondly, it requires a theological but not a purely historical reading of Isaiah. So those are some of the challenges to the traditional view. Did you add anything else to those?
It's fascinating. I think my notes here says in verse 6 of chapter 49, the word "my salvation" is used. And if you were listening with a Hebrew ear, it would sound like Yeshua, like my salvation. That's the name Yeshua or Jesus. My name, my salvation will go to the ends of the earth. My Jesus will go to the ends of the earth, which is interesting. So it's like the corporate Israel is represented by the one who then accomplishes the mission, and he does that on behalf of not just Israel, but the whole world. I'm just imagining Jesus as a young boy, going to synagogue, listening to the Isaiah scroll and hearing these passages about the servant and going, this is me. This is my job. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take up this mantle, this calling, and I'm going to carry it out.
Well, then, of course, in Luke 4, when he begins his ministry, he quotes Isaiah 61, which some people think is a fifth servant song. So, had to be ringing in his ears.
Good answer. Question number 2. I jotted down some questions for you. So you asked a question in the sermon, where would you be? Where would you be? Where would you be, sir? Where would you be,
Tim,
ma'am? Where would you be?
Noah, where'd you be?
Had Jesus the Son not taken up the mantle, not taken on the mission of the Father, not become the servant prophesied here? Number 1, Bob, why is that important? Why is that an important and powerful question that we should meditate on? And then number 2, where would you be?
Probably not here. Not here sitting with Pastor Dave on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, so
see what you'd be missing out on.
That's right. That's right. So it's an important question. I think because ultimately, of course, first and foremost, where would salvation come from? Once you default to being your own savior and trying to save yourself and everything that would entail. I don't know how. I often think I don't know how people face challenges in life and suffering and purpose without a relationship with Christ. So, I think life would be. It would feel like there's a void that can't be filled, or you try to fill it with something that was never ultimately satisfying. I think for me, I look back on my life, and I always was kind of I guess one of those kind of I didn't make any super major have a super major rebellious phase when I was a kid, but I definitely can see where I would be out there kind of living for myself at some level, whether that would be for acclaim or money, or I was into acting when I was younger, so maybe I would have been pursuing fame and fortune until God grabbed my heart through Christ and called me into ministry and things like that. I probably would have been more of a not as nice to people as I am. Those are just some things that come to mind. But it's definitely life transformative when you meet Christ. He reorients you.
This is about as good as it would have gotten for me. I mean, this is what I would be living for, man.
What kind of a God is that?
Yeah, sitting on a couch, cutting up big Reese's with a fork and knife.
Good answer. All right, question number 3. In the second half of the sermon, you likened the servant to a conductor who's inviting others to sing harmony. I saw you going like this.
I was trying.
Except for it was 2 times speed, so it was like this.
I was trying to do Mr. Holland's opus right there.
Yeah. So, number 1, how can we keep our ears tuned to the conductor? And number 2, what is he asking us to sing? What does that look like?
Yeah, good question. Well, I did. If you did see the part with the shirt, we were doing a run through, and Tim, I don't know, Tim, if it was your idea or something else. Maybe I came up with it, but then you had the idea of throwing the shirt out. So Johnny is challenging the youth this week with this Proud Christian shirt challenge, and I threw that out to the audience. And there was 2 people that took it. So they're going to be out singing with their life, representing Christ to those that they influence. I think
No, I didn't notice that.
your life can be a song in the way that you live, that it brings praise to God because people see there's something different about you, as well as you're bold enough to step up and tell people about who Jesus is and why he's changed your life and why your life is different. What was the first part of the question?
Number 1, how can we keep our ears tuned to
How
the
can we
conductor?
keep our ears tuned to the conductor? Yeah, so I know this sounds very simple, but one of the reasons that we bought all these Isaiah journals for you, the congregation, to use was so that it's a tuning instrument. You know that tuning fork? Like you hit it and it rings and it helps you to, tune your ears and wiggle it. It's kind of what the Word of God is. If you're not in the Word of God, if you're not reading it, meditating upon it, studying it, how can your heart be tuned? Like if you don't know what's in the Bible. I hear people quote the Bible all the time, but it's clear whether they know it or they don't know it, because people that don't know it are just kind of quoting things out of context, not even really thinking about it. That is the way that you tune your heart to God's will, because it is his special revelation to us. So reading the scriptures, meditating, praying, those are all ways of us, and being disciplined about that are all ways of us being tuned into God's word.
Tune my heart to sing thy grace. Come thou fount of every blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Robinson. Was he a Baptist? He's the guy who wrote Come Thou Fount, and he left the reservation. He backslid. He went off the rails with his life, and he never really came back. It's kind of a sad ending to a great life who had certainly a great song there, but did not. His heart was prone to wander, and he felt it, and prone to leave the God that he loved, and he did leave. Ultimately, I don't think he rejected the faith, but he did not live for Christ.
Robert Robinson had a diverse church background rooted primarily in the evangelical movements of the 18th century England.
Yeah, but which
He was
ones?
influenced by the preaching of the Calvinist revivalist George Whitefield, who preached here in Basking Ridge, and began his ministry associated with the Methodists. The Methodists. Later, he founded an independent church in Norwich. In 1759, he adopted Baptist theological
I thought so.
positions,
I thought
including
so.
believers' baptism by immersion.
I thought so.
And he became the pastor of the Stoneyard Baptist Church in Cambridge, where he served for nearly 30 years. There you go.
I thought that. Yeah. So, tune my heart with the fork, Robert. It's a good song.
There you go.
What's his name? Baptist theologian Andrew Fuller, in the same time period, knew Robinson, and he wrote him a letter.
Started Fuller Theological Seminary?
Different dude. He wrote him a letter about coming back and encouraging him to tune his heart with the fork. All right. My next question is, you highlighted the invitation of the servant to quote unquote come out. Come out. Come out. What is it that keeps people in, meaning in bondage? And how can we take hold of the invitation to come out? And what keeps us from coming out?
Yeah, it's an important question. And if you just take the prison image for a second, I think a lot of times people like to be in prison. Like they like the little kingdom they built inside the chain links that are around them. Because it's meeting some kind of felt need in their life, and yet they just can't see the forest for the trees. So whether that's, I don't know, some kind of, whether it's money that's driving your life, that, it just feels good to have more money and you work hard and you run over people. You can't see the fact that you're in the darkness if you're not living for Christ. I think we've talked, you talked last week about the trial of the false gods, and the last couple of weeks have been focused on idols. We all have some kind of idol in our life that can very easily become our central focus and make us comfortable. So I would say, I think a desire for felt needs, but secondly, things that make us comfortable. That's one of the reasons we don't come out of the prison. We're kind of happy with what we're doing. We have comfort. Eating 10 Reese's packs like that every day feels
10.
good. Feels good going down, but then later on you're like, oh, why did I do this? And yet you keep doing it over and over again.
Dude, guess how many
never-
serving sizes are in here? Guess how many servings are in here?
10.
Noah?
No.
How many serving sizes are in this thing? There's 2 huge
What is the
things.
serving size, or how many servings?
How many servings are in here?
How big is the cup? 4.
Each cup is, the whole package is 16 ounces, so each one must be 8 ounces each. You think this is 4 servings?
No.
Yes.
32.
16 servings
Wow.
in here. And each serving is 140 calories. So if I were to sit down,
16 little
Mathematically,
cups
I was on
inside
the
those
right
big
track.
cups.
so if I were to sit down and unwrap this and eat this for a snack, let's just do the math here. So what did I say? 140, right? Times what? 16. So this thing is 2,240 calories.
And that would be
Just-
all you could eat in one day.
You're done. Like it's
done.
more than I can eat in one day. This is like your toast, man. One package, and this is come out of her, come out. This is bondage.
It'll be coming out in some way, shape, or form.
All right. Let's keep it moving here.
Whoa. I don't know how to come back from that, man. There's no segue.
Noah, Theology Sprint.
All right, are we good with that question?
I'm good. Are you good with my answer?
I guess so. All right.
Guess so.
All right. Thank you, Bob, for a good sermon.
so
Next week, we are going to
Vision Sunday.
have a topical message on the book of Isaiah, and we're going to be pulling out different themes from Isaiah in our study that tie together with the vision of Millington Baptist Church. And so you're not going to want to miss this Sunday. It's one of the most important Sundays of the year, and it's all about what God is doing in our body through our ministry and what he has done. We're going to do a little recapping of the past year, and then we're going to be doing some forecasting and looking forward toward what we want him to do this coming year and what we're hoping him to do, what we're praying for him to do, what we're envisioning for our ministry. So you're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be an important Sunday, and Vision Sunday is coming up. All right.
It's going to be good. All our sponsors will be there next week.
That's right. Very good.
Hey, NBC. So we're still enjoying the fall season here in New Jersey, getting ready for an incredible Thanksgiving season, but it is never too early to start thinking about Christmas and what you are going to do for Christmas Eve. This year, we are excited to announce 3 Christmas services. 1 will be held on Christmas Eve, and 2 will be held on Christmas Eve. All 3 of these services will be identical, just on different days, so you're not missing out if you only come to one of them. Christmas Eve will be held at 7 p.m. right here at NBC, and will feature our candlelight service. And then on Christmas Eve, we will have 2 services, one at 4 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this. And Christmas Eve is one of the best times of the year to evangelize and invite people out to church who don't normally come. If you have a family member, a friend, or a neighbor who you've been trying to get to church, Christmas Eve is the best time of the year to get them there. So use this as an opportunity to do a little evangelism in your neighborhood.
All right, so Noah, we're ready to sprint, man. You already gave us a doozy earlier, and then the second, half a question too. So this is number 3, really, if I'm counting. So, what do you got for us today, Noah?
All right. So I got an option for you today. You can either A, have just a normal theology sprint question, or you can have one that's a little bit closer to an apologetics question. It still is theological, but it's a little bit on the spectrum of apologetics to theology. It's a little bit closer to apologetics than usual. So I'll give you the choice. You want a normal one or this newer one that's a little bit apologetics-y?
Does it have anything to do with ticks or red meat?
No.
Okay. Well,
What do we call it before? It's the new fear.
yeah, new fear unlocked.
New fear unlocked.
All
That's
right. I'll go with the apologetic style, man.
All right, let's do
let's
it.
defend the faith.
Okay.
This is what we're called to do in 1 Peter chapter 3, right?
That's right.
Like, be prepared
Always be prepared to give a defense.
to give an answer, to
Yes.
give a defense
apologia.
to anyone who asks you for the hope that you have, but do this with gentleness and respect. All right.
All right. Here we go. So our question is, if after the flood in the Old Testament, the ark with all the remaining humans landed in the ancient Near East, then how did people like the Native Americans turn up in the Americas?
Didn't I just read that they found some remains of the ark?
There's always some Indiana Jones story coming out about what they found with the ark. I don't believe any of that stuff, but
It's like the white whale. They're always searching for it.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. The question is it a local flood or is it a global flood? And scholars are divided on that. I tend to lean towards the global flood because of the description there in Genesis 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's like far above the highest mountain peak and so forth. And for it to rain that much and for it to take that long to subside. So, how did the people get over here? I guess the working theory is that there was a land bridge in between Alaska and, East Asia there. And there was a migration that happened after Noah's flood. And those people showed up in America after that. And the dating of the civilizations over here, like the Mayans and the Aztecs, or people like that, are far after Noah. So I don't know that you have to go beyond that. But there's my answer for the simplest way to think about that from an evangelical perspective. There's other more complicated perspectives. If you take like the old earth creationist perspective, and you could go to Biologos if you want to like read about how this somehow can fit together with Genesis and the theistic evolution theory. And there's other ways to answer the question.
There are reasons to believe is kind of a form of old earth. Yeah. Not a theistic evolution one, but yeah.
Yeah. I would say the story from Noah seems like a complete annihilation and destruction of every single human being and every single living thing on the earth. In the New Testament, okay, so are we good with that? I'm just going to go on a rabbit trail. Okay. So there's a couple pictures of baptism in the
final segment,
New
rabbit
Testament.
trail.
And one of the pictures is the flood, is a picture of baptism. And it's a really interesting picture because it's like, how's that like baptism? Everybody dies. But actually,
judgment in the waters and coming out of the waters, right?
Yeah. So you got like these people that are inside of a structure, and the judgment of God is swirling all around them, underneath them, above them, on the side of them. But they're safe in the structure, and eventually they don't perish like the rest of humanity perishes. And like that, if you're in the ark, you're in Christ, and you are surrounded by water, and you are safe in Him. And that's a picture of baptism, which I find to be a really rich image for water baptism. So we circled all the way back to a good baptism by immersion illustration here, guys, which, that's what we are. We're Baptists. So
there you go.
Thank you guys for watching today. Thank you, Pastor Bob. Good to be back.
Good to be back. Be back with you next week.
We'll be here.
Boom.
Hope to see you back. Have a great day, guys.